Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Teenage snowboarder Choi Ga-on won Team Korea's first gold medal of this year's Winter Olympics in the women's halfpipe event, beating Chloe Kim of the United States. Kim Yo-jong, the powerful sister of North Korea's leader, said it was fortunate that South Korea's unification minister had officially expressed regret over civilians flying drones across the border, but warned of a harsh response if similar incidents occur again. South Korea's import prices rose for a seventh consecutive month in January. Rising raw material costs drove up import prices by 0.4%, despite low oil prices and exchange rates. We begin this morning with South Korea winning its first gold medal at the Winter Games in Milano Cortina, sealed by snowboarder Choi Ga-on's win in the halfpipe. Choi is now the youngest gold medalist in the event, despite falling in her first two runs. Our Kim Do-yeon starts us off.
From the brink of being taken off the course on a stretcher to the top of the podium, 17-year-old Choi Ga-on took gold in the snowboard halfpipe at the Milano Cortina Winter Games on Thursday, despite falling on her first two runs. Her first fall was especially concerning, with officials even preparing a stretcher fearing a serious injury. She managed to get up, but fell again in her second run, leaving her sitting in last place with one chance left. In her third and final run, Choi landed her signature switch backside 900 perfectly. Judges awarded her a massive 90.25, vaulting her past defending champion from the US, Chloe Kim, who was leading with a score of 88. When Kim fell on her own final run, Choi's victory was sealed. Ironically, Choi had named Kim as her idol in an interview with Korean broadcaster JTBC prior to the competition, saying Kim never gives up and stays focused to win on her third run, even if she falls on her first two. Both competitors' relationship also goes a long way back, as Kim's father helped Choi train and compete in the US from a young age. Choi has now broken Chloe Kim's record to become the youngest ever winner in this event while securing the nation's first ever gold in snowboarding. South Korea has stayed strong in the snowboarding section during this event as a whole, picking up a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
In other news, North Korea's Kim Yo-jong has called South Korea's regret over a reported drone incursion sensible, but warned of a harsh response if similar incidents happen again. Now, this comes after Seoul's unification minister expressed regret over drones allegedly sent to the north by civilians and said South Korea is pursuing peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
The younger sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has responded to South Korea's recent expression of regret over a drone incursion, calling the move sensible, while demanding concrete steps to prevent a repeat. In a statement carried by the North's Korean Central News Agency on Friday, Kim Yo-jong said it was fortunate that South Korean Unification Minister Chung Dong-young officially expressed regret over what Pyongyang called a drone intrusion into its territory. She said she appreciated the remark as sensible behavior. Earlier this week, Chung voiced regret over drones allegedly sent to the north by civilians and said Seoul is pursuing mutual recognition and peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas. Kim Yo-jong, however, stressed that responsibility ultimately lies with the South Korean government. She said Pyongyang is less concerned about who organized the flights, whether individuals or private groups, and more focused on what it calls a serious violation of sovereignty and national airspace. She also issued a warning saying any recurrence of what the North views as provocations would trigger a harsh response. According to her statement, one of several counterattack options would be selected, and the response would go beyond proportionality. Kim's remarks on Seoul's response, however, were not published in the Nodong Shimun, the North's main newspaper for domestic readers. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Moody's investor service has kept South Korea's sovereign credit rating at AA2, with a stable outlook reaffirming a level it has held since upgrading the country in 2015. The agency said Thursday that the rating is backed by Korea's strong economic diversity, competitiveness, and steady institutional management in handling key challenges. Moody's projects the Korean economy will grow 1.8% in 2026, helped by rising semiconductor exports during the global AI upcycle and stronger investment in facilities. It adds that the stable outlook reflects balanced risks, noting Korea's exposure to global trade can affect key credit metrics. The forecast is slightly cautious, but largely in line with other estimates and the government's view. South Korea's import prices rose for a seventh consecutive month in January, despite a dip in global oil prices and a weaker dollar. Data from the Bank of Korea shows the import price index inched up 0.4% compared to December. While capital and consumer goods saw declines, the overall rise was driven by raw materials and intermediate goods. Meanwhile, export prices jumped 4% from the previous month, led by manufacturing products. The volume of exports also surged 28.3% compared to the previous year, reflecting robust global demand in the technology sector. This strength in exports has significantly improved the country's trade conditions, with the net barter terms of trade climbing 8.9% compared to the same period last year. And ahead of the Lunar New Year holiday, the Korean government has been working to ease price pressures, launching a task force team this week to monitor the cost of groceries and essential items. For more on this, we're joined today by Professor Park Min-jung, professor at the Department of Business Administration at Kumo National Institute of Technology. Professor Park, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
So the government says it's trying to bring down grocery prices ahead of this year's Seoul. What steps has it taken so far, and are people actually feeling the difference?
Actually, the government has launched a minister-level task force to stabilize gross prices and ease household burdens. Although inflation is around 2%, policymakers recognize that consumers still feel pressure, especially from food prices that have risen over time. So led by the Deputy Prime Minister and involving the Fair Trade Commission, the task force will address unfair trade practices, improper subsidy claims, and distribution monitoring. Authorities plan to track high-priced items, investigate possible collusion over abuse or market power, and take action when necessary. Existing these measures such as tariff cuts and discount programs and stockpile releases are also under review. However, these immediate relief may be limited, such as structural factors, including production costs, climate-related supply constraints, and global supply chain pressures continue to influence prices. So lasting improvements will likely require longer-term reforms alongside the short-term measures.
I see. And prices for key ingredients like flour and sugar have come down recently after companies lower prices. But many people say eating out still feels very expensive. Why is this?
Even though the prices of key ingredients like flour and sugar have recently declined, restaurant prices do not fall at the same time. So raw materials are only one part of the overall cost structure in the food service industry. For most restaurants, labor, rent, utilities, and delivery platform fees, and other operating expenses account for a larger share of total costs than ingredients. In recent years, wages have gradually risen, energy prices also have fluctuated, and commercial rents have stayed high. These costs are relatively sticky, meaning they do not decline quickly, even if some input prices fall. There's also what economists call downward price rigidity. Businesses often raise prices when costs increase, but are slower to reduce them when costs decrease. Frequent prices changes can also confuse customers and affect brand perception, so restaurants adjust continuously. So as a result, even if ingredient prices ease, The broader cost environments and pricing behavior help explain why dining out still feels expensive.
I see. And there's also a heated debate here in Korea over imposing an additional tax on sugar. And some say it can protect public health, particularly among lower income households, while other analysts say it could fuel inflation. Where do you stand on this issue, and what impact could it have on the country's economy?
Sugar tax is primarily a now public health policy with economic effects. In theory, it can reduce excessive sugar consumption, lower obesity rates, and decrease long-term healthcare costs. Evidence from countries such as the UK and Mexico suggests it can increase product reformulation and modest changes in consumer behavior. In the short term, prices of sugary products would likely rise because lower-income households spend a larger share of income on food. The tax may be regressive unless revenue is used to support health programs or subsidize healthier options. Clear communication about the policy's goals and targeted reinvestment of revenue can help improve public acceptance and fairness. Overall, the inflationary impact would likely be limited as sugary products make up a small portion of the consumer price index.
Right, and turning to jobs, the number of employed people last month saw the smallest increase in more than a year here in South Korea. What's behind the slowdown, and what needs to be done to address growing concerns over youth employment?
Yeah, the slowdown in job growth, with employment rising by just about 180,000 last month, the smallest increase in 30 months, reflects both structure and cyclical factors. First, the base effects play an important role. Strong hiring in public services last year makes the recent gain appear smaller by comparison. Meanwhile, the private sector remains cautious amid slower growth, high interest rates, and global uncertainty, prioritizing cost control over expansion. Youth employment now faces additional structural challenges. Many young people prefer jobs in large firms or public institutions, while most new positions are in services, care work, and smaller companies. Skills of this mismatch phenomenon between graduates and labor market demand further limits opportunities. So addressing these issues requires more than short-term public job programs, stronger university and industry partnerships, expanded vocational and digital training, and incentives for firms to hire young workers are essential for sustainable employment growth.
I see. All right, Professor Park, thank you so much for your time and insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Culture Minister Choi Ga-on sat down with members of the media to mark his first 6 months in office and touched upon BTS and more. Our correspondent Park Gun-woo files this report.
From crisis to hope, South Korea's culture minister says he's witnessed renewed optimism in the cultural sector over the past 6 months. He noted that the industry's core strength and passion remains strong, adding that K-culture continues to expand its global reach. One of the ministry's key priorities is BTS's upcoming comeback show to be held in March at Gwanghwamun Square, one of Seoul's most symbolic landmarks, known for major rallies and public gatherings.
It's grateful and meaningful that globally renowned artist BTS have chosen Gwanghwamun as their new starting point. That's why we're doing our best while working closely with BTS so that we can showcase Korea's traditional heritage and cultural essence to the world.
The minister added that support measures are also being prepared for international visitors attending the concert, stressing that collaborative concerts with Korean artists will extend beyond BTS. Choi also reaffirmed efforts to crack down on ticket scalping at large events such as concerts, noting that related legislation will soon be introduced to penalize resales at inflated prices. The authorities are additionally discussing measures to address accommodation price gouging in concert hosting areas, with solutions expected to be unveiled soon. Through the Presidential Cultural Exchange Committee launched 4 months ago, the minister said officials are also exploring ways to accelerate the global spread of K-culture.
We're planning to host a massive global concert in Korea by the end of next year, bringing together artists from all major entertainment agencies. We might be able to potentially integrate dedicated K-culture spaces at venues for those concerts, just like Korea House at the Olympics, offering immersive cultural experiences.
Choi further stressed the need for more large-capacity concert halls in Korea, with efforts underway to build venues capable of accommodating up to 50,000 people. The minister noted that additional financial support for the cultural sector will be provided, adding that there's a broad consensus within the government, including the president, on the significance of strengthening the industry. Park Gon-woo, Arirang News.
With Seoul and The Hague kicking off their first ever foreign affairs and trade strategic dialogue this week, the Dutch foreign minister sat down with Arirang to provide more insights about his visit. Here's our Oh Soo-young with more.
South Korea and the Netherlands are natural partners in chip technology and are bound together as liberal democratic middle powers. That's according to Dutch Foreign Minister David van Bijl, speaking with Arirang News during his visit to Seoul.
So I think that both the Netherlands and Korea have been thriving due to the international rules-based order that's been built in the 80 years since the Second World War. We are both entrepreneurial countries, we have open economies, we are outward-oriented, we depend on other countries for our well-being and our economies, so that really binds us together.
The first 2+2 meeting of foreign and trade ministers took place in Seoul on Wednesday, with the two countries' semiconductor alliance as the main agenda. While Korea's Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix produce more than half the world's memory chips, Dutch firm ASML's lithography technology is an integral part of producing the most advanced semiconductors.
I think we're very complementary. But we also want to make sure that we safeguard this technology, use it in a responsible way, and also make sure that our potential adversaries don't make misuse of this.
This comes amid supply chain disruptions, economic coercion by larger powers, and technological rivalry.
I think it's very important for middle powers like Korea and the Netherlands are to hold hands and to make sure that we keep advocating this international rules-based order that has brought us so much. And yes, that sometimes means that you also need to reduce dependencies, whether it's in the field of security or in the field of economy, to get a more even balanced approach within our alliances.
Cooperation is also broadening beyond economics to include defence and regional security in the Indo-Pacific.
Last year, our navies conducted a joint exercise, and as a former naval officer and also having spent time in NATO working on hybrid threats and cybersecurity, how do you intend to deepen the security partnership between South Korea and the Netherlands?
So I think there's a lot of opportunities in defence industry, in defence innovation, because both of our countries are very highly involved in new technologies, and we will see those technologies also seeping into the military, whether it's AI, the use of drones, which we're already seeing in Ukraine, or cyber. This will be a large part, and also we believe it important to be present in this region, if only for the freedom of navigation that we hold so high. So we will send a frigate again this year in 2026 to the region to participate in exercises with various countries here.
Also during his visit, Van Bijl met with Unification Minister Chung Dong-young in light of Seoul's new policy of peaceful coexistence with North Korea. The Dutch Foreign Minister noted with caution Pyongyang's ongoing cooperation with Russia.
It has been supplying soldiers, it has been supplying equipment, and that cooperation only seems to deepen. At the moment, that makes it very, very hard to see anything positive happening vis-à-vis the North Korean regime. And I think that at the moment we would advocate for sanctions and pressure to stop this alignment and to make sure that North Korea doesn't gain any sensitive technologies from Russia in return for their help on this senseless war of aggression in Ukraine.
As Seoul and The Hague advanced their strategic partnership, the minister emphasized underlying common values.
I believe that we have a great basis to build on. I probably insulted your nation by saying you are like the Dutch people in Asia, but I mean that in a very positive way, that you are forthcoming, you are entrepreneurial, you are outgoing, and when you make a deal, it is a deal. And that for us are golden values that we find reflected in Korean society as well.
Minister David Van Vel, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome. I am your AI sports correspondent, Arirang. This section features AI-generated content and scripts, bringing you the latest news from the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026. Here are our top stories. South Korean skater Im Jong-un has won the bronze medal in the men's 1,000-meter short track. The 18-year-old clocked a time of 1 minute and 24.611 seconds after making a late push from 5th place to the lead group during the final lap. Following a photo finish, officials awarded the gold medal to Jens van Abhout of the Netherlands and silver to China's Sun Rong. This podium finish at the Milano Ice Skating Arena on Thursday is the first medal for the South Korean short track team and the nation's fourth overall at the 2026 Games. The South Korean women's curling team defeated host nation Italy 7-2 in their second round-robin match on Friday in Cortina d'Ampezzo. Led by skip Kim In-ji, the Korean squad secured a decisive 4-point lead in the sixth end, which prompted Italy to concede the match. The victory gives South Korea a 1-1 record in the preliminary stage following an opening loss to the United States. The team will face Great Britain on Friday. South Korean skeleton athlete Jung Seung-gi finished in a tie for 8th place after the first two runs on Thursday at the Cortina Sliding Center. Jung recorded a combined time of 1 minute, 53.22 seconds, trailing leader Matt Weston of Great Britain by 1.13 seconds. The result places Jung in a three-way tie for 8th place, with Chinese sliders Yin Zheng and Lin Qinhui heading into the final day of competition on Friday. Freestyle skier Jung Dae-yoon finished 19th in the men's moguls on Thursday. Jung reached the first final at Livigno Aerials Moguls Park after placing 4th in the second qualification round, but a balance error during his final descent resulted in a score of 34.28. The mistake prevented the 2025 FIS World Championships bronze medalist from making the top 8 and advancing to the final round to compete for a medal. Before we head out, let's look ahead. Appearing now on your screen are the current medal standings and the upcoming schedule for the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026.
We can dress a little lighter today as temperatures continue to rise. However, fine dust is once again affecting air quality. Dust concentrations will remain high across much of Korea today as overseas pollutants continue to flow in. In fact, emergency dust reduction measures are in place for the capital area and Western Gangwon-do province. And on the East Coast, dry weather alerts have been in place for nearly 50 days. So extra caution is required required to prevent wildfire. And this afternoon will feel more like mid-March. Seoul will jump to 12 degrees Celsius, Daegu topping out at 17 degrees. Southern provinces will have sunnier skies this afternoon. For the Lunar New Year holiday, there will be no severe cold. Conditions will remain generally mild and mostly clear with no major weather disruptions.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.